savant Joey Votto, red hot Todd Frazier, and speedy Billy Hamilton. Tonight, the Marlins are in town for a weekend in the Natty. On the banks of the Ohio, Great American Ballpark, home of the 2015 Major League Baseball All-Star Game. And the entire city is bracing for the All-Stars coming here in July. The Rosie's here tonight. Irish Heritage Night. The Reds are green, if you can believe that. Even Todd Frazier got the green cap. The Reds, the Marlins. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz along with Tommy Hutton. The Marlins escape New York after splitting with the Yankees, and they face a team and an environment that is very friendly for hitters.
You know, we thought playing in New Yankee Stadium was a good place to hit. This is exactly the same. Great American Ballpark might even be better.
Giancarlo Stanton plays in one of the toughest parks to hit a home run. Watching him here for 3 nights should be a lot of fun. He's just on not only an incredible, but a historic run.
You know, watching him in batting practice is a treat. But Giancarlo Stanton, 10 home runs in his last 16 ball games, all those games in the month of June. He has 29 singles, 25 home runs, and 38 extra base hits. So when he hits a ball, he usually gets extra bases. Fun to watch Big G hit. He's always had success here. 7 career home runs against the Reds. 5 of those have come at Great American Ballpark.
There are his numbers. This will be game number 17 for Stanton in this environment. In this environment, there's a third baseman who right now is carrying the Reds offensively. He's got 4 homers in his last 2 games. His last one was a walk-off grand slam. He wasn't in the lineup the other night, but even the gods are with him. The game was rained out, so he got a night off. Todd Frazier.
Yeah, 4 home runs, 7 RBIs those last 2 games. And we're having a matchup of 2 guys that we will probably see in the home run derby for the All-Star game. And remember, it was Todd Frazier who won that contest last year. Last year he hit 29 home runs. He already has 22. He is on some kind of tear. Leads in a lot of categories amongst National League third basemen, but he doesn't lead in the voting. Matt Carpenter, the Cardinals, does.
All right, so the Marlins and the Reds getting ready to go. Pitching in this ballpark, well, that can be problematic. When we get back, we'll talk about pitching to the park and in the park. You got a veteran, Dan Herron, and Mike Leake. That's the matchup tonight. In Cincinnati, the Marlins and the Reds. The Great American Ballpark. You can see the logo. The 2015 All-Star Game to be played right here in Cincinnati. Danny Echeverria getting ready to go. Let's go down below. Craig Minervini and Carl Pavano. Guys.
All right, Rich, thank you very much. Boy, the Marlins have been playing in some hitters' parks. Think about Toronto series, a Yankee Stadium, and now here another series at a home run park. As a pitcher, tell me a little bit about the approach for Herron, a veteran tonight, and the Marlin pitchers. What should they work on?
I'll give you a very broad approach. It would be, you go into the pitchers' meetings and they're going to talk about, especially Yankee Stadium, you want to stay away from right field, pitch away, let them beat you at the bigger parts of the park. This is a park that's pretty even, and it's a homer-friendly park. Right. But to simplify it, it's about executing pitches. You could talk about the stadiums all you want, and this is a great lead for their staff coming into this stadium because it is a hitters-friendly park, just like Yankees is as well. But you just want to simplify and make sure that you execute pitches. Don't worry about the park. If you make good pitches, you're going to get the guys out and they're going to keep the ball in the park.
The Reds, as you look at Great American Ballpark this year, second in home runs and total home runs, fifth in home runs per game, 2.68. The Reds' ERA is slightly better at home, where they're 18 and 13. They've given up a couple more homers, 35 to 31 on the road, but their ERA is 4.05 at home and 4.10 on the road, where they haven't done very well. They've walked a few less guys here. Obviously, you gotta throw strikes.
Yeah, and you look at their staff. They got a sinker ball staff. That's cut the ball, they sink the ball, they slide the ball, and a lot of times, more times than none, you're going to keep the ball on the ground. And they got some good guys with good control. But you get used to pitching in this park too, especially when you're pitching here. Half of your starts a year, and a lot of these guys have been around a while, and they get accustomed to making, going out and having that stress on them, and it doesn't bother them.
Quick thought: as a pitcher, do you like the challenge of pitching in a park like this?
It never bothered me. I mean, I wasn't a guy that gave up a tremendous amount of homers. I just wanted to give up solo homers. If I gave up homers with no one on, that never hurts you. It's the crooked numbers that hurt you. So when people are on, like Hamilton, that are trying to mess up your rhythm, that could get to a pitcher.
All right, ball game coming up. It's the first of 3 on this 5-game road trip for Miami. First in New York, and now we're off here to Cincinnati. Game 1's coming up. Dan Herron goes for his 7th win. Mike Leake goes for his 4th. Next on Fox Sports Florida.
And the Reds, Dee Gordon, Derek Dietrich, Christian Yelich, Mike Leake on the mound. The Reds are the Greens on Irish Heritage Night. The first pitch is bounced to Joey Votto, who steps on the bag. One pitch from Mike Leake, one out. A bouncer from D. Gordon. Miami's lineup is brought to you by JM Lexus. D. Gordon at second base. Derek Dietrich's at third. Christian Yelich in left. Giancarlo Stanton, Marcelo Zuna, Justin Bour. JT Realmuto, Danny Echeverria, and back into the National League, Dan Herron hits ninth. And here is Dietrich getting the start at third. And CC Sabathia on the mound last night. Dietrich got the night off.
Well, as you watch Mike Leake, the right-hander for the Reds, very aggressive, doesn't waste too much time. You see his numbers on the year. First round pick of the Reds back in '09 out of Arizona State. One of those guys that maybe a few teams passed over because he's 5'10", 190.
Yeah, and one of the few guys in this modern age that has gone straight from Arizona State right into a major league rotation without stopping in the minor leagues. 0-2 pitch. And Dietrich swings and misses. Good running fastball. Leake throws a little bit of everything, and everything he throws well.
Take a look at that Reds defense, brought to you by BMW. Marlon Byrd back off the disabled list. He's in left field. Billy Hamilton, Jay Bruce. Filling out the outfield, Todd Frazier, Eugenio Suarez in short. Brandon Phillip, Joey Votto, they've been together a long time. Tucker Barnhart behind the plate.
Mike Leake works quickly, and he misses to Christian Yelich. Yelich drove in a run on an 0-for-4 night last night. Of course, he broke up the no-hitter of Michael Pineda in Yankee Stadium on Wednesday. In the count now, a ball and a strike.
Yeah, the other thing about Leake in his sixth year now with the Reds, and talking about his size, 5'10", he's only been on the disabled list once. That was back in 2010. He had some shoulder fatigue.
Yeah, he's kind of built like a Roy Oswalt. Jake Peavy.
Maybe doesn't throw as hard as Oswalt. Maybe doesn't have the curve of Oswalt, but as you said, will feature a little bit of everything. A lot of cutters.
Not a lot of pretense with him either. Christian Yelich is rung up, and Yelich in discussion with Eric Cooper, and the inning ends just like that. Pitch 6. Dan Herron takes center stage when we return. scoreless ball game. The Reds lineup with some really experienced and dangerous bats at the top. It's brought to you by JM Lexus. Brandon Phillips in the leadoff spot. Joey Votto is healthy and doing damage. Todd Frazier is just incredibly hot right now with 4 homers in his last 2 games. Jay Bruce in the cleanup spot. Marlon Byrd, a veteran bat, is off the disabled list. Eugenio Suarez, Tucker Barnhart, Mike Leake, the pitcher, hits 8th. That's because Speedy Billy Hamilton hits 9th. And this is Brandon Phillips. Dan Herron delivers. Fastball for a strike.
Well, Dan Herron, 4-1 loss last time out to the Rockies. Remember all those runs. 3 runs he allowed in the first inning on home runs. So he's going to have to keep the ball down in this ballpark, which is home run friendly. He's allowed 13 on the year, but he's been the Marlins' most steadiest pitcher all season.
Misses away to Phillips, and it is 2-1. Phillips has seen Dan Herron. There are some hitters that have seen Herron, and some of them extensively. 7 for 21 with a couple of home runs is Phillips, and he drives that one to left. Yelich sees it and makes the catch.
All right, back in the National League, no designated hitter. BMW bringing you the defense. Yelich, Ozuna, and Stanton in this outfield. Not as spacious as Marlins Park. Derek Dietrich back in there at third. Echeverria and D. Gordon. Between them, just 6 errors all year and a whole bunch of highlight plays. Justin Bohr at first. JT Real Muto, welcome him back to the lineup.
Joey Votto has been welcomed back to the Reds lineup after an injury-filled year last year. See Real Muto. Votto with that left quad injury really left him vulnerable as a hitter, unable to drive. His power numbers almost disappeared in the short time that he was a Red last year.
Yeah, just 62 games for Votto last year.
Only 6 home runs in those 62 games. Which, if you're not homering in this ballpark, then for a guy like Votto, you know something is wrong. But everybody around the Reds certainly pleased with the way he responded in spring training. There's some dialogue going on right now between the home plate umpire Eric Cooper and the Marlins dugout. Votto steps out.
I think it all goes back to the called third strike to Christian Yelich.
That was pitch number 3 that missed to Votto. That's a strike. Keep in mind, here in Cincinnati, the center field camera. Now Votto seems like he's either talking to the umpire or doing some landscaping. Maybe both. Center field camera here in Cincinnati is offset. It's not a true center down the chute. So balls that are in or out. That's why we have Fox tracks to let you know where they are. That one didn't miss by much. Herron thought it was a strike. You saw Herron gesture to Cooper. There's some gamesmanship going on right now.
That pitch was actually better than the pitch before, so who knows? Umpires will say they don't do this, but who knows? Maybe a makeup call from the prior pitch from the home plate umpire Eric Cooper.
And neither side is happy with
who right now seems to be a little shaky early on.
Here's a 3-2. And it's in. And you can see Herron upset, gesturing towards Cooper, and then getting back up on the mound. You don't see Dan Herron get real demonstrative, do you?
First of all, if you're Eric Cooper, you have to realize you have 2 pitchers who are around the strike zone. 2 guys in Leake and Herron who work quickly, who stay in the strike zone. And I think when you have 2 pitchers like that, usually they'll get the benefit.
Well, especially you don't want to put anyone on in front of this guy, who is the hottest hitter right now going. And he drills it to center. Ozuna, a good break, but it's over his head, and it goes to the wall. Frazier around first, and he's in with a double. Boy, Marcell Ozuna looked like he had it in his sights and was on track to catch it, and at the last minute, it was over his head.
That tells you how hot Todd Frazier is. He scalds this ball, and it fools Marcell Ozuna. Fastball out over the plate, stung, and it continues to rise. Jumps over the head of Ozuna right there. He came in on it. A step or 2 in cost him And just like that, the Reds have second and third and one out.
And here is Jay Bruce. Now, as frustrated as Herron was with that pitch to Votto, he's going to have to regroup. He's got Bruce and Bird with 2 runners in scoring position. Bruce, a disappointing season last year. 10 homers, he's driven in 30 this year.
He's been disappointing to a point this year, but all of a sudden on a hot streak. He had a 5-hit game Wednesday. 7 for 9 his last 2 games.
And yesterday was supposed to be the 4th game of the home and home 4-game set between the Reds and the Tigers. And the Reds, who are dressed in green tonight, ended up winning 2 of those 3 ball games.
Speaking of 5-hit games, here are the green hats and the lettering. Did you see where Yunel Escobar had his 3rd 5-hit game of the season last night? One of those was against the Marlins. He's had 3 5-hit games this year.
Brian Price's 2nd year, skipper of the Reds. And Herron 2-2. Count 2-2. Herron trying to extract himself from an early jam. Votto's at 3rd. Frazier's at 2nd. And he got him. Big strikeout from Dan Herron. So 2 are out. And now Herron has to face the hitter that of all the Reds has hurt him more than anybody, Marlin Bird.
That's probably why Marlin Bird, who had a left wrist fracture, was on the disabled list. There's a good off-speed pitch there to fool Bruce. Only took 2 rehab games. Then he saw that Dan Herron was pitching, and he said, I'm ready. So that's why he's in the lineup tonight.
13 for 27 in his career against Herron. He misses outside. Bird, a veteran bat that the Reds are hoping can contribute. And they've lost 2 pretty good ones. Devin Mesoraco, their catcher. Zach Cozart, their shortstop. Cozart out for the year with a knee injury, a hip injury for Mesoraco.
Yeah, both will miss the rest of the season.
There's Mesoraco.
Where there's some questioning with that hip injury if he'll be able to catch when he's back and ready to play.
Marlin Bird, born in Boynton Beach.
And you talk about a serviceable major leaguer for a long time with many teams. You're talking about Marlin Bird. Last year as a Philly, 25 home runs, 85 RBIs.
Bird, high school in Georgia, actually played football at Georgia Tech before a leg injury turned him to baseball. He fouls that one back. I think it's interesting in watching Herron, upset certainly in the Votto at bat. Ozuna misplayed the ball in center, but Herron, after that conversation with Eric Cooper, hasn't shown any signs of being flustered.
Normally that's what happens when you're a 34-year-old veteran. And he gets out of it.
And a pop-up. Gordon makes the catch.
Nicely done, Dan Herron.
Yeah, calm, cool, collected. Dan Herron brings himself right out of it in the first. The Fish, Marcell Ozuna, Justin Bour, facing Mike Leake, who had a nice tidy 1-2-3 first. And he throws a strike to Stanton. Giancarlo, home run number 25 last night. Had 2 hits. Took a breaking ball in the outside part from CC Sabathia and whipped it to left. And whipped it good. 2-1, the count to Stanton. It's away. And so Leake, after getting an early strike, has tried to see if Stanton would expand the zone, and he hasn't.
Yeah, went with that cutter away, 90 miles an hour.
High chopper to short, and Suarez throws him out. So there's one out. The Cardinals and the Marlins on the 23rd of June. That's Tuesday night. Open up a homestand and a series. If you purchase a 2-piece bone-in chicken combo at any participating Popeyes location and present your receipt at the Marlins Park ticket office, you receive 2 complimentary tickets to the game on that Tuesday, the 23rd. For more information, go to marlins.com/Popeyes. Leake likes throwing strike one. He usually gets it right out of the chute every at bat.
Yeah, a lot of times it's with that breaking ball too. I'm sure a guy who feels happy about that fly ball that got over his head, well hit ball, is Marcell Ozuna.
Last night we were talking about Derek Jeter and how he got his 3,000th hit, right? It was with the home run, and people said only Jeter could do that. Guess what? Alex Rodriguez has homered for his 3,000th hit.
Well, home run number 667, and he hit it off Justin Verlander.
1-2 coming to Ozuna. He fouls it back to the screen. Reds and Marlins 3-game weekend series tonight, tomorrow night, and Sunday afternoon. And everybody around here is hopeful that the weather holds for a weekend of baseball. It's been miserable around these parts with rain. A rain out last night. And it sure came out at a great time for Brian Price. He had 3 or 4 regulars not in the lineup last night because he wanted to give them a day off. And they got their day off, and they didn't miss a game. Ozuna misses that. And that's 3 strikeouts and 5 hitters for Mike Leake.
Boy, this is a sweeping slider. Keeps it off the plate and gets Marcell Ozuna to chase it. Love the way Justin Bour swung the bat his last 2 ABs last night in New York. A couple of base hits, one up the middle, one into left field, and he hit the ball hard. There's that get me over curveball.
Just 370 in right center field in this ballpark, and a low fence as well. 404 to straightaway center. Kind of a warm and muggy night.
Yeah, the home run derby here this year will be pretty spectacular.
It's going to be ridiculous. Change up a strike.
Well, we talked about it. He gives you a little bit of everything. The excellent command, cutters to lefties, and a very good athlete out there. Mike Leake, good hitter, good fielder.
Bour can't check and goes around and strikes out. 4 strikeouts in 2 innings for Mike Leake. Toyota. Let's go places. By Florida Coast Equipment, Florida's largest Kubota dealer. Visit us at FloridaCoastEQ.com. By AutoNation, save on over 70,000 vehicles now. Visit AutoNation.com. And by Coral Springs Auto Mall. Across the street from the Coral Square Mall, we make it easy.
Rich, speaking of Toyota, there's a Toyota sign out there and a truck, and it is a long way away. And there are some who think, hey, the home run derby, Giancarlo maybe could reach that. That's a long way out there.
That is up on that platform where they've got the riverboat, smokestacks. Eugenio Suarez for the Reds, a former Tiger, and a guy that is trying to fill the void left by the knee injury. Zach Cozart. Heron throws a strike.
Yeah, Suarez had been in AAA 57 games in the minor leagues before the call-up.
One hopper. Wow, Derek Dietrich crossed the diamond. Heck of a play. Dietrich tested, and a short hop pick while he was sliding.
Oh, this is a beauty. And for a kid who's not known for defense, he continues to work all the time with Perry Hill. Got a little different infield here in Cincinnati. The grass is that central cut a little thicker, but beautiful pick by Derek Dietrich.
Tucker Barnhart slices one into left center field. That's a hit. And switch hitting catcher is aboard. And Brian Pena taking over with the Devin Mesoraco out, that hip injury. And that brings out the pitcher, Mike Leake. And Leake is not a guy you want to take lightly at the plate.
Yeah, don't let this year's average fool you. He's a .227 career hitter, and he has 5 home runs.
Now he's hitting 8. He goes after the first pitch, hits in the air. It's not necessarily that Brian Price has him 8th because he's a great hitter. It helps. It makes it nice and convenient. But he's there because they're looking to get Billy Hamilton on track, and it's easier to hit 9th in the National League than it is 8th. And so Hamilton is 9th, and obviously the pitcher hits 8th.
Yeah, the beginning of the year, Hamilton led off and struggled immensely. So Brian Price decided, okay, I'll get him in the number 9 spot. This is the 21st game he's hit 9th. And then he has that pitcher in the number 8 spot. He's gotten a little bit better, but still hitting just .221.
Yeah, with his speed, his on-base percentage, .265. Shortens to bunt, takes the strike. Hamilton leads all of baseball with 31 stolen bases. So when he gets on, he's tough to stop. He swiped 5 bags against the Cubs last weekend.
Rich, you realize the only other player, you mentioned Derek Jeter and Alex Rodriguez homering for his 3,000th hit. The only other player that homered
was it Wade Boggs?
Wade Boggs. I believe it was in St. Pete.
Yeah. I haven't seen the video yet, but I'm interested to see the reaction of the crowd and of the Tigers. It was a fly ball to right center field. And down goes Billy Hamilton. Dan Heron strands Barnhart at first. And these two teams, packed with power, are scoreless so far here in Cincy.
third inning, and JT Realmuto back in the lineup after missing the last couple of games with a stiff back. He actually was not in the original lineup today, but he came over with Dan Jennings this afternoon, immediately went to the batting cage, and they wanted to make sure he was swinging and hitting comfortably, and that was the case. He felt good. He said, I'm good to go, and so they switched up the lineup a little bit after 4, get JP back in there. JT hitting a .319 in his last 12 games, working with hitting coach Frank Manichino and hitting that outside pitch the other way, and it's been working out very nicely. He's taken his average up from the low 200s June 1 to 240 now, guys.
Here's the 1-0 pitch. Hey, Craig, one question about Realmuto. Once he proves that he can be healthy, what will the Marlins do with Jonathan Solano?
Yeah, it looks like, as we've been talking about, Jordani Valdez came up here the other day. The Marlins were originally going to put him in for Prado, but when they had the situation where they needed a third catcher, they made that move. So I would expect that the Marlins would get Valdez being in and probably just go with 2 catchers.
All right, thank you, Craig. Suarez out. Realmuto pops out. That's the first out of the 3rd inning. Mike Leake is working quickly, and it seems like he's in an early groove.
Well, you know what's crazy, Rich? I just look back as Dan Jennings looks on, and he knows this as well as anybody. Since that 8-run, 9-hit first inning against the Yankees back in Miami, the Marlins, in every game since then, through the first 2 innings, have gone 0 for 18. Not even a base runner.
Wow. Here's a Danny Echeverria. A weird night for Echeverria last night. Echeverria, a 300 average going into the game, was promoted from the 8 spot to the 2 spot. And he promptly struck out 4 times.
Etch happy to get out of New York. He was 0 for 6 with 5 Ks.
Two and two. Little dribbler, and stays at 2 and 2.
You know, we saw that shot of Dan Jennings in the Marlins dugout. DJ actually began his scouting career 1986 as an associate scout with the Cincinnati Reds.
Both Dan Jennings and Mike Goff have a relationship with Brian Price. Price coming up in the minor leagues and in the major leagues as a pitching coach in the Seattle Mariners organization. Dan Jennings, some experience there. Mike Goff was on the coaching staff in Seattle as well. 3-2.
He'll kind of have some Seattle connections with the Reds third base coach, Jim Riggleman.
Riggleman was on a Seattle coaching staff and managed. Three-two. High pop up. Votto towards the dugout. Has it. And the Marlins really haven't hit a ball all that well against Mike Leake through 8 hitters.
Probably the hardest hit ball was Stanton's ground ball to short, a 1-hopper. Riggleman telling you and I, Rich, the Marlins need to get Michael Morse back. He saw him up close when they were together in Washington, and he knows what Morse can do offensively.
Yeah, that was an interesting conversation. Yeah. When you see a team like this, you trade war stories. Who's going hot for you? Herron sprays it right side. Phillips flips it. And Mike Leake retires the first night he's faced here in Cincinnati. Cincinnati. And time now for our Geico MLB moment. Well, to get where he got, Pete Rose had to hit a lot of milestones himself. This is the 2000th hit in 1973. In different games that night, Willie Davis also picked up his 2000th hit. Willie Davis, a teammate of yours, Hut, I believe at one point.
The three dog. Used to call him the three dog.
And of course, tonight is also part of the home run challenge. Each home run tonight worth $12,500 in the fight against prostate cancer. And you can donate, homerunchallenge.org. It's that time of the year. Anytime we get Father's Day, we not only get the home run challenge, we get Michael Milken here. How are you?
Well, I'm the happiest guy to be in the ballpark tonight. It was 22 and a half years ago. They gave me 12 to 18 months to live, so I'm the happiest guy to be here tonight, and I'm a living example, as is Joe Torre and Dusty Baker, that prostate cancer can become a chronic disease, not a life-threatening disease.
Here's Brandon Phillips, and he hooks one down the left field line. What prompted you to go from survivor to incredible fundraiser, which you've done with the help of Major League Baseball?
Well, I've been funding cancer research for 20 years. When I was diagnosed, knew a lot about breast cancer, melanoma, glioblastomas, but I didn't know anything about prostate cancer. And with a bunch of owners, we got together and discussed the fact, why don't we start this program, Keep Dad in the Game? Come out to the ballpark, remind your dad to get tested for prostate cancer, that simple blood test. We all wish life-threatening diseases had an early warning system.
Stanton has it.
But very few do, and this one did, and most men never got tested, and so this awareness program is the #1 awareness program in the world today for men to get tested for prostate cancer, and the month that most of them get tested is July, right after we're here. So it's an amazing thing to see, and I couldn't be happier to tell you that the death rate has fallen by more than 50% from projected levels.
Michael, I can tell you, and I would imagine everyone has a personal story that they know someone who, because of this program, has been tested early and caught things early.
And today, the $45 million we've raised from people pledging for home runs. This year we're at about 145. We think we'll end up about 200. So if you pledged $1, that's $200. You pledge $10, that's $2,000, and then we match all pledges. All go 100% goes to research. There are now 6 drugs that have been approved for people with advanced prostate cancer, and most of those people will now live normal lives due to those. So whether it was early, which is better, or whether it was late, the chances for survival are significant.
Now, the mechanics of the fundraising here, it's pretty simple. I mean, chicks dig the long ball, and the Marlins have the best home run hitter in the game in Giancarlo Stanton.
And I was watching him during batting practice today.
That's impressive, isn't it?
It is, but I was a little concerned he was practicing going to right field, rather than going over the fence.
He does that, though. Well, he hits home runs to right field, so he's got that kind of power. He homered last night in New York. That raised $12,500. I know Fox Sports has been very active with you in partnering with Major League Baseball.
I would say Fox Sports, Major League Baseball have really changed the world for all men with prostate cancer, and it's leading to becoming a chronic disease. When we first started this, it cost $3 billion to sequence your genome. So the idea, I'm going to go get my genome sequenced. Not everybody wanted to spend $3 billion. It's now $1,000 in an hour. And so we've discovered there's 28 types of prostate cancer. Some really don't go anywhere, and a lot of men who've had treatment maybe didn't need to have treatment. And some are aggressive, and you have to deal with it right up front. And this has all come out of these home runs, $45 million.
Wow.
That has been raised from home runs in Major League Baseball. But Fox has been the leader. One year, I remember early, they put me on a camera, and the ball went to the outfield, and I'm there as the cameraman filling in for a half an inning. I cannot find the ball. I don't think the fans realize how hard it is to follow a ball. As a cameraman, I have ultimate respect for those cameramen.
Well, you see, over the years, though, you've come much more relaxed in the booth.
Yeah, I mean, you've laid out when a ball's in play. You'll lay out. That's good. Now, quickly, as the Dan Heron with a full count, how can people donate, and how important is it that people do donate tonight?
Well, I think it's extremely important. We're on the verge of eliminating prostate cancer as a cause of death, and we can get leverage in this program.
Oh, no home run.
So
there.
PCF.org. I want to thank you. Thank Fox. I want to thank Jeffrey Loria, who is the world's best host when we're down there in Florida. And we can see a few home runs tonight.
All right.
So
Thanks,
thank
Michael.
you.
I feel secure in saying that there's going to be one out of this ballpark off a Marlin bat tonight.
Great.
$12,500 riding on that statement right there. Cincinnati, second time through against Mike Leake. And D. Gordon takes the strike. Dan Heron and Mike Leake are matched up in a scoreless ball game right now. And Leake was impressive. He's retired all 9 that he's faced. As Tommy described, for the Marlins after that big uprising in New York, the early innings since then, or that big inning against New York and Miami, the early innings since then have not been great.
Well, the Marlins didn't get their first hit last night until the 4th inning, and it was D. Gordon with a triple. They didn't get their first hit the night before until the Christian Yelich home run in the 7th inning. That was against Michael Pineda.
And Gordon fouls it back. If you haven't heard, Alex Rodriguez homered tonight in his first at bat against Justin Verlander and the Tigers for his 3,000th hit.
That game is tied up 2 apiece now in the Bronx.
Gordon fouls it at the plate. One thing Gordon has done exceptionally well this year, spray the ball everywhere, line to line, gap to gap. On the @Fox Marlins Twitter feed, I put up, courtesy of Mark Simon, our stats guy, the hit chart, the spray chart that Gordon has, and look at that. Hits by direction.
Yeah, we've talked about that. We've seen him get 3 hits in a game where 1 has gone to each field.
And that spray chart looks like an Easter egg hunt.
You're going to have to show me how to do that, Rich. That's part of the Twitter stuff I haven't learned yet. How to put that other stuff up.
Here's a 1-2, and Gordon fouls it and then hits it on his backswing. The count stays at 1-2. Marlins are not where they would like to be in the standings, and the Reds are not where they would like to be in the standings. The Fish are 7 back in the East. The Reds are 12.5 back in the Central. Gordon lifts it in the air to left. Marlon Byrd is there and makes the catch. The Cardinals are coming in. Tuesday night starts the series, and on Wednesday, every child 12 and under with a ticket gets a coupon for a free KM Beef Frank, bag of Frito-Lay chips, small Pepsi or Aquafina water. Get your tickets. Kids eat free Wednesday. Get it at marlins.com. Cardinals on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Dodgers in next weekend. And then the Giants finish off what is a really tough homestand. Dietrich got jams, and Suarez is in to make the catch. And Mike Leake just keeps getting outs.
Boy, he does. And early outs, 45 pitches for Leake. This ball gets in. Probably that cutter got in on Dietrich to saw him off. Very durable is Leake. 3 consecutive years. He's had 30 or more starts. See, after a couple of quick outs, you're forced, as Yelich did there, even though it was a ball, you knew he was going to take a pitch anyway, even if it had been down the middle. Because you kind of have to make him work a little bit out there.
It was a contentious at bat by Yelich, or at least the finish of the at bat on a pitch that was a called strike 3 by Eric Cooper. It showed up on Fox Tracks barely on the corner and at the knees, essentially a perfect pitch. But I think what threw everybody off, including Yelich, was Tucker Barnhart, the catcher, was set up out and had to reach and dive back in for a pitch that just clipped the plate at the very front of the plate. By the time it got to his glove, was down and in.
That's one that'll fool the guys on the bench, because their view is seeing the catcher. See, he's set up outside. Now he has to reach all the way over there. He may have caught it out of the zone, but as it crossed the plate, it was borderline, but it was a perfect pitch.
And as I reminded you, that it's not a true center look. It's an offset look, and Yelich can't check, and he strikes out for the second time. Wow, Mike Leake perfect through 4 innings. Chambers Bay Golf Course continues. Those that survive the cut try to move up the leaderboard. Third round coverage begins tomorrow, 2 Eastern, only on your local Fox station. Watch all the action on your phone or your tablet or your Apple Watch with Fox Sports Go. On the Puget Sound, Tommy Hutton, take the ferries out, maybe see some whales. There's a great train track that runs right along the course.
Right next to one of the par 3s. You know I love golf and love watching golf. Usually when you see a tournament such as that, you say to yourself, boy, I'd love to play that course. I don't know if I'd like to play that course. It's tough, and it's eating up some of those guys.
Here's Jay Bruce, and he takes a strike. And that train corridor is a working class train corridor. You get major freight trains that go not only through there, but when they go up through Seattle, right next to Safeco Field and through downtown Seattle. Bruce leading it off, bottom 4. Dan Herron. It's a foul tip there. Herron survived a scare in the first. A walk to Joey Votto and a double by Todd Frazier. That was with 1 out, but he struck out Jay Bruce and got Marlon Byrd to pop out.
We have seen, I don't want to say numerous occasions, on a couple of times when Dan Herron maybe hasn't gotten settled in and maybe not had his best stuff. We've still seen him work through hitters, work through his mechanics, and get outs.
Ozuna with room. He makes the catch right at the warning track. Marlin fans, it's Friday, and you know that means it's Flashback Friday, brought to you by Dodge. We'll post the best vintage Marlins photo using the hashtag FlashbackMarlins. And we'll select the best one that you post and feature it in the post-game show. So vintage Marlins photo posted. And our panel of judges, not the blue ribbon panel, sort of a ragtag group here in Cincinnati, but they'll do their best to pick the best photo. As Marlon Byrd, repaired wrist and all, climbs in with 1 out. Byrd popped to second. Sends that one out to center field. That's deep. Ozuna's back at the warning track, and it gets out of here.
Wow, his first at bat, Rich. You talked about his history against Dan Herron. 13 for 27. He's 14 for 29 now with 3 home runs. His 3rd home run against the Marlins right-hander.
Now that's not the Marlin home run that I promised Michael Milken. Not by Marlon Byrd. That's not what I meant.
I understand.
Look at the numbers against Herron.
Wow.
14 for 29 now. Suarez fouls it back.
But again, as has happened so often with Herron, most of the home runs he's allowed, 14 now, have been solo shots.
One and 2. Ten of 14 are solo homers. It's the 14th homer that Herron has allowed. Echeverria backs up and gets the out. So 2 outs. And before Barnhart steps in, we remind you that your South Florida Honda dealers will bring you Marlins live pregame, 6:30. Craig Minervini, Carl Pavano from the field. The Game 2 preview. It's disco night. Tom Kohler going for the Fish. Anthony DeSclafani, former Marlin, for the Reds. To left, Yelich wanders over, makes the catch. But Marlon Byrd fights Dan Herron again with a solo homer. It's 1-0. Designs, Price Service Selection. You're going to love us. By Checkers. Get Checkers Authentic Philly Cheesesteak. Try the new Meatball Sub. Pick yours. By Lexus of Pembroke Pines. Price Service Selection. You're going to love them and us as well.
And you're going to love this guy coming in to hit first in this inning, too.
There's the cool stovetop caps of the old Cincinnati Reds. T-Mobile Game Changer, Giancarlo Stanton in June. 10 home runs. And he's got plenty of June to break free of the tie with Hanley Ramirez. Jeff Conine, Mike Lowell. Eric Lee a couple times had 8. Here is Stanton, second at bat. And Leake gets a strike. Stanton bounced out back in the second. Leake's been getting a lot of first pitch strikes.
Including this game tonight. 10 games left in June.
Stanton bouncer out to second. Brandon Phillips collects it and gets the out. So the frustration continues for the Marlins. Mike Leake has been perfect. Here into the 5th inning, he's got an out, and he gets Marcell Ozuna and then Justin Bour.
Well, he has faced just the minimum. Always having a good time is Brandon Phillips. Gold Glove second baseman.
Well, the Reds certainly have kept the core of their team together here, haven't they, in the last 4 or 5 years?
They have Frazier, Bruce, Phillips, Votto. You know, Brandon Phillips and Joey Votto have started 889 games together. I think Ryan Howard and Chase Utley, the only 2 right side of the infield guys that have played more games together.
They've actually played more games together, I believe, than Tony Perez and Joe Morgan did as Reds.
That's amazing. Tony Perez with the Marlins. You're in Cincinnati. I always like it when Tony shows up on the road.
Well, this is for him. This is not necessarily the road. I know it's a road game, but it's home. Part of the Big Red Machines. Leake misses and Ozuna walks, and so the first base runner for the Marlins. 75 and 76. World championships for those 2 years. Tuesday night, the Marlins return home, and guess what? The game is on Fox Sports 1, only on Fox Sports 1. Matt Carpenter and the division-leading Cardinals are in town. 7 Eastern for coverage on Fox Sports 1, or stream it live on Fox Sports Go. Justin Bour takes away. Now, I don't go that far back in Reds history. I mean, Reds history goes as far back as the game.
Yeah.
The start of baseball. But next, behind Phillips and Votto in their 889 starts together, Frank McCormick and Lonnie Fry. Doesn't have a date.
It's a little before me, too. Yeah. So certainly guys who are familiar with each other. Phillips, Votto.
Again, if you're just happening by and you're saying, what in the world is wrong with my television set? It is Irish Heritage Night, and the Reds have donned green caps with green lettering. Leake misses, and he stares in at Eric Cooper, thinking that that was a strike. It's 3-0.
Well, you know, you always mention this, but first time he's out of the stretch, he throws a few pitches like that in between innings when he warms up. But after the walk to Ozuna, Marlins got their first base runner.
So that big green scoreboard as well. And it's out, and Leake walks Bour after walking Ozuna. And here comes Real Muto, and the Marlins have an opportunity here with one out.
Now, I do not, you have a little Irish in you. I do not have any Irish in me, but I've been to a few pubs and will enjoy maybe a cold one when Rooney's used to be open in Abacoa.
That's the extent of your Irish?
That's the extent of my Irish.
Now, I've worked with you for 11 years. I've seen you get your Irish up.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Maybe there's maybe somewhere. I haven't checked the lineage too far back.
Now Real Muto takes a strike. JT sitting in New York, a tight back on his way up to New York. Everything checked out fine before tonight's ball game, and he's in there. He popped out to short. And Leake's breaking ball misses away.
He had a little situation like that in the spring. Real Muto. A little stiffness. Took 2 or 3 days and he was fine. And I know he wants to play.
A strike. One and two. Leake now 27. Southern California kid before going to Arizona State. Strike three called. Real Muto caught looking.
Well, whatever he did, he came back after the 2 walks, the back-to-back walks, and made perfect pitches to Real Muto. Look at his fastball tail back right into the target of Tucker Barnhart.
That's Greg Maddux like.
See, he throws that, then he also has the cutter, so he can move the ball both directions.
Echeverria popped to Votto back in the third. A Marlin Bird homer, the only run of the game.
You mentioned, Rich, Mike Leake, Southern California, grew up in Fallbrook, north, a little east of San Diego. The town, the hometown of the late Duke Snider. Grow some great avocados in Fallbrook.
And it's always good to when we got the Duke on the telecast. High chopper. Suarez high throw, and Votto keeps the foot on the bag and makes the catch. And the Marlins' 5th inning is over. Still no hits for Miami. Mike Leake has gone 5 and has a 1-0 lead with the Reds on top. Showing some leg, Rosie. 1-0. Reds on top. Marlin fans, it's Friday, and of course that means it's brought to you by Dodge. The Flashback Friday. Post the best vintage Marlins photo of yourself. Use the hashtag #FlashbackMarlins, and we will select the best and feature it in the postgame show. Actually, we is a loosely used word there. Tommy and I have nothing to do with it. It's a, again, not the blue ribbon panel is not available. It's a ragtag group. We've drawn from a few folks from Cincinnati.
It's tough to travel with the blue ribbon panel.
Mike Leake is up. Billy Hamilton, Brandon Phillips for the Reds in the 5th.
Boy, both pitchers have been on the corners all night. Mike Leake, Dan Herron.
Herron can bring that fastball back to a right-handed hitter and catch the outside corner. He's 2-2 on Leake, who flied to center in the 2nd inning. And he pops that one up behind the mound at Chavarria. Oh, and out here in the 5th. The legal portion of the telecast, the copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Marlins, may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Marlins. Here now is Hamilton as well, getting Hamilton out of the 8th spot in the lineup. It also puts him in front of Phillips and Votto. And of course, Phillips is in the leadoff spot, but there have been years where he's hit 3rd. There have been years where he's hit cleanup for this Reds team. So he can drive in runs. He got Votto in the 2 spot. 0-2 to Hamilton.
It's been a struggle for Hamilton to get on base consistently. Boy, but you go back in the minor leagues, Billy Hamilton had a year in A-ball and Double-A. He stole 165 bases. That's hard to imagine.
Now he's actually, I mean, if you look at that and go back and look at D. Gordon, he's a little more prolific in stolen bases than D. Gordon, but when you look at Hamilton offensively and put him up against Gordon with the bat, there's no comparison. Hamilton trying to figure out a way to get on, and Gordon has been leading the National League in hitting up until last week when Paul Goldschmidt nosed in front of him.
Yeah, they're not that far apart now. The other thing D does much better is bunt for base hits.
Hamilton swings and misses. Herron strikes him out. We talk about the Cardinals, the team that traps at Dan Herron. They'll be at Marlins Park on Thursday, 7/10. Seniors 55 and older can get free tickets on Senior Free Ticket Thursday, presented by Wellmax Medical Centers. Visit your local South Florida Subway restaurant and get a coupon for a $5 ticket. Go to Marlins.com today. Brandon Phillips. Everybody in baseball for the last 4 days has been in that cycle of 2-2 in interleague play, and that is broken tonight as teams go back, most of them back into their own leagues. Teams in the East, the Washington Nationals are at home and leading Pittsburgh 3-1 in the bottom of the 4th. The Phillies are losing to St. Louis 4-0 in the 4th in Philly.
Took me a while to find the one interleague matchup. The Cubs are in Minnesota tonight.
Mets and Braves scoreless. Top 4 in Atlanta. Phillips back in. And Brandon Phillips knocks it foul. Phillips bothered by a strained groin last week. Missed a couple games. swings and misses. How about Dan Herron? After the home run to Marlin Bird is sharpened back up. He's allowed just a run on 3 hits. 1-0 Reds. Irish Heritage Night here in Cincinnati. Dan Herron leads it off for the Marlins in the 6th. And the Marlins, for the second time in 3 ball games, come into the 6th inning without a hit. That happened to them in New York on Wednesday night. Christian Yelich, a 7th inning homer to break up Michael Pineda and his bid for a no-hitter, though his pitch count was so high I doubt he would have finished the game. It's a different story here. Leake, pitch number 71, and it misses down low.
Yeah, he has kept his pitch count down. 1 complete game this year for Leake.
He's walked 2, struck out 6, and inexplicably for a guy who's been dealing like he has, he walks the pitcher to lead off the 6th. Remember, he had 2 walks in the 5th. One other note about this game right now. 1-0 Cincinnati here in the 6th. The skies around Cincinnati are a lot more threatening than they were at 7 o'clock Eastern game time. And the chance of rain goes up right around 9 o'clock is when rain is expected to be back in the area. And so keep that in mind. It's a 1-0 ball game. The grounds crew has plenty of practice over the last week here with the rain delays. Getting the field ready. Gordon hits a bouncer. Phillips backhands and the turn in time to get him. Suarez. What made that double play was Brandon Phillips. Not only a backhand toss, but with authority to start the double play.
There's kind of a point in an area where you have to decide as a second baseman, do I pivot and flip it, or do I backhand? And you're right. He made the decision to backhand it, and it had something on it, and then across the bag was Suarez to complete the double play, which just needs to do with D. Gordon running.
And so just like that, Leake gets a couple outs. Still hasn't given up a hit. And here is Dietrich.
Kind of looking and tracking dates with Derek Dietrich getting a chance to play some third base. Martin Prado could be ready at the very end. I think he's eligible right at the end of that Dodgers series or the beginning of the Cardinals series or beginning of the San Francisco series.
Dietrich hit, and he's on his way to first. So hit by a pitch, Dietrich is aboard, and that buys Yelich an at bat. Here's a look. He's kind of got him in that right thigh. Well, Yelich has struck out twice, but remember, it was Yelich that broke up the no-hitter 2 nights ago.
So the Marlins have had 4 base runners, 3 walks, and a hit batter.
Yelich finds left field, and that's the first hit of the night. So Yelich has broken up 2 no-hitters.
Yeah, 1 in the 7th inning and this one in the 6th inning. That's just a nice swing. Didn't try to pull that ball. There's that 2-seamer that moves away, and Yelich finds that hole on the left side.
Well, it gives Stanton at bat with runners at first and second. Giancarlo has bounced to short and bounced to second. He starts him with a breaking ball for the first time tonight. Misses away. It's 1-0.
He has kept everything away.
You see on Fox Tracks, that one right on the border.
This is certainly, and I say this ballpark, Stanton can do this in any ballpark because he has power at all fields, but he doesn't have to think about pulling a ball. He can drive a ball anywhere here.
The strike.
And Leake continues to stay away.
With success, stay away. One, two. That's even further away.
Giancarlo hoping to get that one pitch that misses.
Jay Bell, bench coach for the Reds. Got the hit charts out, the spray charts for his defense. Dietrich at second, Yelich at first. 1-0 Reds. Yelich a base hit, breaking up a no-hitter here in the 6th inning by Mike Leake. Stanton gets a piece.
Might have been a little bit away. It was a strike, but a good rip by Stanton. Targets away. It was up a little. That's where he missed.
Got him. That breaking ball a little slower, and Stanton frustrated. The Marlins lead 2. Fish Family, exclusive loyalty program of Marlin fans. Your bonus code tonight is infield. To learn more, log in. Go to marlins.com/fishfamily. Rich Waltz, Tommy Hutton, Craig Minervini, Carl Pavano is with us.
Nice to have Carl on a road trip with us.
Especially in a game like this where it's pitching, and more pitching in a hitter's environment.
And he talked on Marlins Live about pitching to the ballpark, in this ballpark, a hitter-friendly park. But you know what? If you make pitches the way Leake has, the way Dan Herron has, it doesn't matter where you pitch.
Votto with a mean rip. Two and one. Dan Herron gave up a home run to Marlin Bird in the fourth, and that's it. 3 hits for the Reds, just 1 hit for Miami. That's 3 and 1. Votto center. Ozuna makes the catch. So there's 1 out. Todd Frazier. And our cold hard facts are brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. 2 home runs in each of his last 2 games. Lee May holds the Reds record with 3 straight back in 1969. Lee May was not part of the Big Red Machine, was he?
No, he was a little bit before, because Lee May was the first baseman. Todd Frazier has done a lot of his hitting in this ballpark too. Came into the game hitting .294, but at home .364 in 14 of his 22 home runs.
Frazier, who has such an interesting background. Herron gets a strike and it's 0-2. Toms River, New Jersey. Rutgers University, Big East Player of the Year, Little League star. Little League World Series championship team in 1998. An all-star last year. He had a career high in across the board in all of his offensive categories. Last year he slugged .459. 29 homers, 22 doubles, stole 20 bases, and was rewarded with a National League All-Star selection. He is not the leading vote getter at third base. Matt Carpenter right now.
Carpenter having a solid year, not the power numbers that Frazier's having. Rich, I thought this when we saw the name Lee May, and I had a look real quick. Lee May was traded. It's a big trade by the Reds, along with Tommy Helms, second baseman, to the Astros, and the key players coming back: Jack Billingham, who was in that rotation, Cesar Geronimo,
little second baseman,
and a little second baseman by the name of Joe Morgan.
That one popped. And Bohr, backing up, makes the catch.
One of our crack staffers up in the Tallahassee area would know a little bit about Lee May.
He also might know this, although I didn't know this. This was a little surprising because Joe Morgan is, I mean, he's Cincinnati Reds, right? And he's part of that Big Red Machine. Brandon Phillips is the Reds' all-time leader in hits, doubles, homers, and RBIs among second basemen.
Wow, would not have guessed that.
Jay Bruce. Bruce, the Beaumont, Texas product, in his 8th year in the big leagues. Lifts a pop. Dietrich going towards the wall and lunges. I don't think he got it. And let's hope he's okay. That was a Arenado type try.
They get to that point and no return, and then you just hope you have a safe landing. Kind of like some of our team flights.
Looks like everybody's okay.
There's a little difference, and I would have guessed more. Brandon Phillips in his 10th year with the Reds. Joe Morgan had 8 seasons as a Red. Of course, started his career with Houston. Went back to Houston, a couple of years with the Giants, Phillies, and little Joe finished with Oakland. But what a Hall of Fame career.
That's a blast, but it's hooking, and it's foul. Wow. Didn't quite get out of here, but it was close. Bruce takes down low. Herron walks him. And now Dan Herron has to face his personal tormentor, Marlin Bird, who got him for a solo homer in the 4th. Only the 2nd walk issued by Dan Herron. He struck out 6.
We play a close game against this team, and the one thing you always think about, that 9th inning with Aroldis Chapman. Not a bad pitch. He was down a little bit in, and Marlon Bird just stays back on it well and drives it just right in center field. And we told you, just off the disabled list.
To left, Yelich with room makes the catch at the track. Dan Herron, 6 solid innings. Marlins looking for a run, down 1-0.
Inning, the All-Star game is coming to Cincinnati. They got a big sign over here, and they are getting excited already all around Cincinnati. Now, one of the things they're going to do here at Great American Ballpark, they're going to put a brand new scoreboard in here over here to my right, 90 feet by 30 feet. This will have out-of-town scores, Also, the line score and video, too. They figured out that about 28% of the people here that come to the games cannot see the main scoreboard. So they're going to put this in here just in time. You see a base hit right there for Ozuna, just in time for the All-Star game. They're going to get another benefit, too, because right now all the scores from out of town are in left field, right on the wall behind the left fielder, and they're going to take all those away, and guess what's coming? Right, advertising. So those scores are going to move up here. Guys, this is a great view. I've never been in this spot for the ballpark where you see the city, you see Kentucky, the river, and a great view of the ballpark and all the seats and home plate. Back to you.
That's pretty cool. I see up there.
That is.
I see up there in right field. Craig, how far are you from the river if you turn around and look at the river?
I'll tell you what, it's probably...
That's further, obviously, than Pittsburgh is.
Yes, it is. I think... How far is that river, would you say? What do you think, 75 feet?
Yeah.
About 75 feet or so, yes. And you know what else? There are a lot of rows here. There's probably almost 30 rows, which is kind of unusual. All seats, not bleachers, in the outfield here. Maybe even more.
Yeah, this is a fun ballpark to watch a game for sure. Marcell Ozuna single to right. Justin Bour is up. And he takes away, and it's 2-0. Bour walked back in the fifth, struck out in the second. Mike Leake has given up just 2 hits. We just saw Ozuna's base hit. Christian Yelich had the first hit of the ball game for the Fish with a 2-out single last inning, the 6th. Bour, a little ground ball, diving stop there. Frazier on his feet, throws across. Whoa, what a play. What a play by Todd Frazier, and a pick by Joey Votto.
You know, we've seen teams shift a lot more. The Reds don't shift as much, and because of that, Frazier was able to get there, make a spectacular play, and just as nice on the other end. But look at he dives, pops up, one hop pick by Votto. But we've seen a couple of teams that shift well over, and that ball goes into left field for a base hit. But Todd Frazier made sure of that one. On the play, though, Ozuna gets into scoring position.
And here's JT Realmuto's popped out and struck out. Back to Leake, throws to second. Ozuna in a rundown. Being run back, Realmuto is going to try for second. Now stop and go all the way back to first because no one is covering. Every Red infielder was involved in that rundown, and the center fielder Billy Hamilton. Look at Billy Hamilton coming in from center.
Well, we talked about Mike Leake early in the game, a really good athlete. So he promptly looked at the runner, which pitchers are instructed to do, saw that Ozuna had gotten too far off second, and it started that 1-4-5-6 fielder's choice. And you're right. You know, it's a great example for kids who watch games. You're an outfielder, you're Billy Hamilton, you watch the ball, you move all the time, and you follow the ball, you follow a play.
Echeverria takes a strike. Danny Echeverria is 0 for 2. Mike Leake has kept Miami off balance. Even the base hits the Marlins have, Yelich's and Ozuna's, those balls were not barreled up. That one, I was about to say it gets away.
Well, the Reds get a break there.
It hits Lance Barksdale.
If that ball doesn't hit Barksdale, Realmuto gets to second, maybe to third.
Barksdale survives. Echeverria, and it skips on by out to Phillips, who gets the out. And Miami is done in the 7th. Mike Leake, 7 shutout innings. It's 1-0. Two hits. The Marlins and the Cardinals, and a crazy 8 Wednesday coming up. Fill up the Chevron, 8 gallons or more, and get $18 Lexus Legend or $28 home plate box ticket. Make sure you take your receipt to the Marlins Park ticket office. Marlins and Cardinals 3-game series opens on Tuesday night. Dan Herron here, Eugenio Suarez, Tucker Barnhart, and Mike Leake. Suarez into right.
Had the Marlins extended that inning, we saw Ichiro in the on-deck circle. So Dan Herron would not have gone out. But with the last out made, Dan goes out there, try to finish things for him in this 7th inning. And once again, another just professional outing. Worked through some early troubles. Gave up the 1 run, the solo home run off the bat of Marlon Byrd.
Now Barnhart, who was singled and flied out. Barnhart, an Indiana guy. 24. 10th round pick back in 2009, Brownsburg, Indiana. And that one is a fair ball. Barnhart on his way to second, and he'll hold there with a double. Barnhart's high school teammate, Drew Storen.
How about that? Didn't hit that ball all that well. Good pitch, a cutter in on his hands, and look at the reaction of Dan Herron. He knows he made a good pitch. Inside out swing, not on the barrel of the bat, but certainly good enough for a double. So it's not going to be Mike Leake, the hitter. Skip Schumacher. So Leake's night is done. Believe it or not, Mike Leake has never thrown a shutout. And he's only thrown 3 complete games in his career.
Time called. Dan Jennings on his way out. Schumacher at the plate. Herron steps off. Votto and Leake in the dugout. Dan Jennings going to go to the bullpen. At 100 pitches, Dan Herron
See, I think you have to look at how he hit the ball. He didn't square that ball up. A little surprised, but here's the call to the bullpen.
Wes Kendall called to the bullpen. Steve Cishek getting loose. Skip Schumacher hitting for Mike Leake. And for Cishek, he hopes that he's able to build on his last few appearances on the road back.
Yeah, last two outings you can see that he's thrown the ball much better. Tough assignment, though. Schumacher, veteran hitter, 35 years old, has always hit right-handers pretty well. Career average near 300 against righties. He has 7 pinch hits this year.
Schumacher was one of the first pupils of Mark McGwire. This is before McGwire was a coach for the Cardinals. And he sends one into center field. A base hit. Late start by Barnhart. Stanton up with it, and he'll score.
Just a strange matchup to bring a righty who's down from the side to pitch to a lefty who's always hit right-handers.
Schumacher with a pinch hit RBI single, and the Reds stretch their lead to 2-0.
8 pinch hits now for Skip Schumacher.
Hamilton trying to bunt, lifts it foul.
Yeah, he had those years, Rich, Schumacher did with St. Louis, where a couple of years, back-to-back years, he was a 300 hitter.
And it was Tony La Russa, when Schumacher was in the minor leagues, that suggested he work with McGwire before McGwire was even a Cardinal coach. Hamilton swings and misses. Line drive, base hit, left field. Yelich has it. So Steve Cishek greeted by a pair of hits, and now that from the bottom of the order, he has to go to work on Brandon Phillips and Joey Votto.
Yeah, now the tough part comes up with those guys, and then Frazier to follow.
Schumacher having a conversation out at second with his former teammate Dee Gordon. They were Dodgers together. in 2013. So here's Phillips, an 0 for 3 night. And he bounces it towards Echeverria. A little shovel. Gordon's turn is in time. Gordon took a pretty good hit on the slide from Hamilton. He's okay. Inning is over, but the Reds get another and lead it 2-0.
Well, early on, just a lot of good pitching. Mike Leake, 7 innings, 2 hits, no runs, had 7 strikeouts. But you know what? Dan Herron was matching him. He was making good pitch after good pitch. Not a bad pitch, but a guy who's hurt him in the past. Marlin Byrd. Bird's 3rd career home run off Dan Herron. Dan Herron worked 6 in the 3rd, 4 hits and a couple of runs. The second run scoring to Herron's line came on the base hit on the pinch hitter. Skip Schumacher gets that hit off Steve Cishek, and that's run number 2 for Cincinnati. Now it's up to the Reds bullpen. Dan Jennings will pinch hit Ichiro against J.J. Hoover.
So Leake's line of 7 innings, 2 hits, and no runs. 3 walks and 7 strikeouts. Herron 2 walks and 6 strikeouts. And here's Ichiro. Miami trying to get something going here in the 8th inning. D. Gordon, Derek Dietrich to follow. Hoover delivers a fastball for a strike. J.J. Hoover hasn't allowed a run in his last 11 appearances. Ichiro, a little chopper over the mound. Phillips' throw is in time.
Wow. You know, you can see, I saw it when Brandon Phillips ran up the line on a double play, him favoring that growing. You mentioned he missed a couple of games. You can even see him a little bit there favoring it, but still terrific play to barehand and across his body with a strong throw.
Now Gordon. D. Gordon into center field. That's a base hit. And so the Marlins speedy second baseman. A 1 for 4 night, and he's aboard with 1 out. And here comes Derek Dietrich.
That's a hit number 100. And in 65 games since expansion, there have been a lot of guys that have put together 100 hits, 100 or more hits in 65 or fewer games. Ralph Garr, Matty Alou, Andres Galarraga, Tony Gwynn, and Larry Walker. That's a pretty good group.
That is a good group. Now D. Gordon.
And now D. Gordon.
Toyota trend. D. Gordon 100 hits. Paul Goldschmidt at 85. Nori Aoki has 81.
So D. Gordon at 355. Goldschmidt comes into play today at 357. As the Diamondbacks not yet underway.
Slow breaking ball. It's up, and it's 1-1 to Dietrich. Clipped by a breaking ball his last time up. It's popped out, struck out. And that second run that the Reds were able to get on the Schumacher pinch hit single. As you see Caps and Hand in the bullpen. Maybe keeping D. Gordon anchored at first base. Count evens 2-2. If it's a one-run ball game, all of a sudden you're looking, and I would expect Dan Jennings and the Reds would all be looking at Gordon a little differently here. Votto and Gordon with a running conversation.
Votto not quite as talkative as Brandon Phillips.
No. It's fun to watch, though. It's that, most people in the ballpark have no idea that Joey Votto and Brandon Phillips have either been catching up or discussing some finer point of baseball or something for the last 2 minutes. He's running, and Dietrich swings and drives it to right. Bruce is there, and he makes the catch. And so D. Gordon was running. Down a couple runs here in the 8th. Had a pretty good jump, too.
And the next time the Marlins and Reds hook up, the 4-game series at Marlins Park just before the All-Star break. 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th of July.
So here's Yelich with 2 outs. Of course, every guy who is a position player for the Marlins is aware right now that at the end of this bullpen progression for the Reds is 100 miles an hour or more of nastiness. Aroldis Chapman. Phillips, the flip. Suarez is there, and Miami done in the 8th. 2-0 Cincinnati.
Ballpark. You did get me. You can't do that now because I can't hear that well. It's tinny and it's not a very good IFB here. Including some Marlin fans all the way from Indiantown. This is Ray's family. You've had a busy Marlins week. Tell me how the week started for you. The week started for you with the Yankee game?
Yes. It was a real nice game. I really enjoyed the game.
And then why'd you come up to Cincinnati? Just to see the Marlins?
No, I come and visit my family, and
nice.
and then I come to the ballpark.
All right, and in Marlins Park, you're sitting in right field bleachers. What's the view difference here in, left field at Marlins Park?
Well, I like Marlins Park better, It's real nice.
You're a good fan. All right, and here is Javier and Daniel. They're going to be here for the whole series. They dressed in the Irish colors of green tonight, or what happened?
Yeah, it's green, but we thought it was going to rain, so we weren't sure we were going to go to the game. But we're dressed in green just for the Irish thing that was going on.
Yes.
But tomorrow we'll be in Marlins for sure, and the next day as well.
You guys are big fans.
I have my Miguel Cabrera jersey that I will be wearing tomorrow. Back in the day, 2003 through 6.
Marlins underwear as well.
Well, we don't need that information, but what about you coming out tomorrow and the next day? You went to Purdue, and you guys are friends from Miami, right?
Yes, he went to FIU, and we go to a Marlins game away every year, and we used to go to a ton of Marlins games when we were kids. I still go to Marlins games at home to visit my parents and my family. And he goes to a ton of Marlins games back in Miami, and we do this all the time. We love Marlins games.
That's very important because one of the big things for baseball is the next generation. You guys have stayed with the sport. Are your friends? How do you get your friends to follow the game?
Oh, we just follow the game, and we just yell at the games for the Marlins. We love to just cheer on the Marlins, and all it is it just takes energy. Okay?
That's absolutely right. We're going to check with you guys tomorrow and see what you're wearing, all right? Good to see Daniel and Javier here tonight. And let's get back to you, Rich. We'll get you for the post game in just a little bit.
Craig, now, how do you know that those guys are Marlin fans? Do you wander around and they catch your eye?
You know what happened here? I was coming up, and normally anybody that says your name has a Marlin hat. These two guys said, Craig Minervini. And they're green. No one would think. You'd think they were fans of the Vancouver Canucks, maybe with the green and blue. But that's how, Rich. So I knew they're legitimate, and then they start talking Marlins history, and they're getting into why did Dunn throw that pitch, and so they follow the game pretty closely, right?
Yes, they did. Very nice. Joey Votto has walked. Brad Hand is in. He takes over for Steve Cishek. Todd Frazier, Jay Bruce, Marlon Byrd. It was Dan Herron for 6 1/3. Herron left. And the score was 1-0. Steve Cishek came in to pitch to Skip Schumacher, who drilled one into center field for a hit to provide the Reds with a 2-0 lead.
So just thinking, Rich, with Chapman warming up and certainly closed this, you had a great way of setting the 4-game Yankee series as a soap opera. And this is a soap opera that people usually know how it ends with Chapman coming in. However, the Marlins have had some success in the past against the Rollers.
That's true. When he enters the scene, you recoil in horror. Frazier fouls it. Marlins have been able to keep Todd Frazier in the ballpark at least through the first 3 at-bats. He doubled in the first. That was a ball that he hit hard, but Marcell Ozuna kind of misplayed in center field. Frazier then struck out in the 3rd, popped out in the 6th. In case you haven't heard, Alex Rodriguez did pick up his 3,000th hit, a home run, in his first at-bat in that ball game against the Tigers. Yankees 4-2 over the Tigers in the 7th. Nationals 4-1 over the Pirates, bottom 7. The Mets have given Jacob deGrom a 1-run lead, and he's run with it. It's 1-0 Mets over Atlanta in the bottom 7. in Atlanta. Frazier reaches out, pokes it, shallow right. It falls for Stanton to pick up. Runner going to third. Stanton's throw, not in time, and Frazier moves up. Stanton took a shot at Joey Votto, and the price he paid was Frazier going from first to second.
Boy, this just reach out a pitch that was off the plate. A good pitch by Brad Hand. There goes Votto. The throw a little offline. It pulls Dietrich off the bag. The thought was there to throw a little high, and because it was a little high, alertly Frazier moved on to second base. So a single, and then he gets the second off the throw.
Jay Bruce. And the infield in, and so for Brad Hand, a tough spot, trying to keep it 2-0. Vin Mazzaro in Miami's bullpen. That's a tough bullpen. You can see Reed Cornelius and Mazzaro, to get any look at what's going on, they have to look through little holes in the fence. The Reds bullpen is directly below them. And so see Reed Cornelius looking out. It's like he's in a submarine. That's a fair ball into the corner off the bat of Bruce. It'll score 2. Votto scores. Frazier scores. And the Reds put 2 on the board here in the bottom of the 8th.
Well, it also takes it out of a save situation, so you wonder if Brian Price will sit Chapman down. But falling behind 2-0 is never a good thing at the major league level. Bruce ready for that fastball, and he was on it.
Dan Jennings on his way out to the mound. West Kendall Toyota called to the bullpen, 4-0 Reds. Might lead tonight, a difference maker certainly for the Cincinnati Reds, despite wearing green.
Well, cutters, change-ups, a few two-seamers that moved. A little bit of everything from Mike Leake. He helped himself defensively, starting a nice fielder's choice play. So an all-around good outing for the 5'10" right-hander.
Vin Mazzaro takes over for Brad Hand. And Red fans, all 33,379, have a little something to cheer about. And the lead stretched out to 4-0.
You know what, talking about Leake, it was an all-around good effort by Dan Herron as well, who actually lowered his earned run average, giving up 2 runs in 6 1/3 innings.
Marlin Bird bangs one off his foot. Bird homered in the 4th to right center field. Been a frustrating night for the Marlin hitters.
Well, the hitting has gotten quiet, and the last couple of nights the bullpen has stumbled.
Yeah, the bullpen roughed up last night late in the ball game against the Yankees. Carlos Beltran's 2-run homer off of Mike Dunn. Sam Dyson had a rough ride in the 8th inning. He gave up 4 runs. Down goes Bird. Mazzaro gets the strikeout. If you have MLB.TV, which is the #1 live streaming sports service in America, you can watch every out-of-market in-season game, either live or on demand. Get that pitch tracking widget too, and who doesn't love a pitch tracking widget? Live look-ins, real-time highlights, MLB.com TV for details. Real Muto's throw is wide of the bag. Bruce, did he come off the bag? Dietrich had the glove on the back.
So many times we've seen runners take advantage of Marlins pitchers not paying attention. And Mazzaro didn't give Bruce that second look.
Ooh,
right there.
Yeah, if the glove is on his back, he's out. He came off the bag, right?
Looked like he kind of lost his balance.
You couldn't see the other side of that. And that's a base hit, and it's water under the bridge now. Suarez doubling down the line. And play at third base, the stolen base by Bruce. Bruce switches feet, and the glove's on him.
I'm surprised Dietrich didn't put up more of a fuss. Good hitting by Suarez, got that ball by Dietrich, and just like that, another run for the Reds. That run added on the line of Brad Hand, so he faces 3 batters. They all score.
So it's 5-0 now, and this is Tucker Barnhart. And Barnhart flips one to left. Yelich comes on, and he makes a running catch. That's the second out. Pitcher spot, and the Reds will call on another pinch hitter, Chris Dominguez.
And as expected, Chapman has found a seat. No save situation now. I wonder if any agents have ever tried to put that in a contract for their closer. No, he can only pitch if it's a save situation.
When you are a closer like Chapman, who is a dominant closer and valuable not only to your team, but let's face it, if the Reds struggle and get to late July and don't seem like they really have a shot. Chapman could be one of their nicest trade pieces. You know, a team like the Washington Nationals that would like to add some depth to their bullpen. So I think he's such a valuable commodity that the Reds may have put that in the contract. Handle with care. Swing and a miss. And Dominguez goes down. 5-0. Cincinnati. To the ninth we go. The banks of the Ohio. Florida is brought to you by your South Florida Honda dealers. By Florida Coast Equipment, Florida's largest Kubota dealer. Visit us at FloridaCoastEQ.com. And by Budweiser, make a plan to make it home. Cincinnati, home of the Reds. And right now the Reds are up 5-0 comfortably into the ninth on a night where the Marlins have had trouble with the bats. Pedro Villarreal.
Yeah, just making his fifth appearance of the season. And once they took it out of a save situation, Villarreal started to warm up. Promoted from Louisville just recently. They had to place a left-hander, Tony Cingrani, on the disabled list, and that's when Villarreal came up.
Stanton goes after the first pitch, fouls it back. Stanton has bounced out twice and struck out.
Chasing a couple of breaking balls up. Villarreal has actually gotten away with them.
Villarreal out of Howard College in Big Spring, Texas. A light rain falling here in Cincinnati. Reds were rained out last night. The rain continued all through the morning into the early afternoon. Stopped around 3. Both teams were able to take batting practice, but it's resumed now. And Stan swings and misses at a fastball. So a night of frustration continues.
Well, he saw all those breaking balls, and then Villarreal went with that fastball moving and getting Giancarlo. A couple of strikeouts tonight for Big G.
Marcell Ozuna, a 1-for-2 night. Now, tomorrow night, the Marlins will see Anthony DeSclafani, the young right-hander that the Marlins traded to the Reds to get Matt Latos. Tom Kohler takes the ball for the Fish. Ozuna continues a nice night. Into the corner. Around first. He's got himself his 13th double of the season.
Yeah, he banged out a base hit to right center last time up and then jumped on that hanging breaking ball. Watch his slider stay up. That might have been a fastball. But a good swing by Ozuna. Ozuna had a chance to spend a little time with family in New York. His father, his sister were there to watch him play.
There's Disco.
Disco happy about the Gators win over Virginia to move to play Virginia once again.
For the right to play in the final.
For the right to play in the finals.
It's a best 2 of 3 once they get to the finals. College World Series. The Reds certainly have stayed away from Bohr. He was robbed of a hit. A diving play by Todd Frazier in the third baseline in the 7th. Great scoop by Votto on the throw. Strike it, it's 2-1. This looks like it'll be the first game finished in baseball tonight. Bohr takes down low unless the Marlins mount some sort of offensive here. Toronto 5-0 over Baltimore in the top of the 8th. And Baltimore has just one hit in Toronto. Marlon Byrd makes the catch. Ozuna will hold second. Yeah, Miami's down to their last out. Mets keep that 1-0 lead in Atlanta in the bottom of the 8th. Nationals 4-1 in the 8th over Pittsburgh. Phillies are getting hammered again 12-3 by the Cardinals, bottom 6. Here tonight, too much Mike Leake and not enough offense for the Fish. Cooper and Real Muto with a quick back and forth.
You'd like to see JT put together a good at bat. He's been swinging well, and then sometimes a couple of days out, which he missed. Have to get back on track. But his last 8 games coming into tonight, he was hitting around 370.
Fouls the fastball back 0-2. $33,379 on a muggy Friday night in Cincinnati. 0-2. Realmuto hangs in there. Another 0-2. Tomorrow night, 6:30 for Marlins Live. Sunday, 12:30 for Marlins Live.
Yeah, Sunday, David Phelps against Michael Lorenzen. A couple of right-handers.
It's in. It's 1-2. Quite a battle here.
Yeah, it is. You know, you certainly give JT Realmuto credit. It's a 5-0 game, and he's up there in his last AB, giving the right-hander quite a battle.
Just won't go away.
You know who would love this at bat? A guy who didn't like to give ABs away, Pete Rose, who will be allowed to participate in some of the All-Star activities. And you know he'll get a huge hand here in Cincinnati.
The count's still 1-2. And that one is fouled back.
Well, he's seen it all. Fastballs, sliders. Right now, Barnhart going out there saying, hey, Pedro, you got a third pitch? We'll try something else.
It's 8 pitches. That last one, a two-seam fastball at 93 miles an hour. Crowd's been on their feet and making noise for the last 3 minutes. And he finishes it. Breaking ball. Realmuto took it. And the Reds have game 1 of this 3-game series. Miami shut out in the opener. No Marlin home runs were hit in this ball game. The home run challenge will continue this weekend. To make a donation, go to homerunchallenge.org. All funds raised go to fight prostate cancer. 5-0 the final. The Reds, behind Mike Leake and some bullpen work, shut out Miami. Marlins Live is coming up from Cincinnati.